Good evening, viewers from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for joining us here on Hope TV News Watch on this 18th November 2021. My name is Grace Wangui and my sign language interpreter tonight is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin the bulletin, but first, let's start with the highlights. It's the end of the road for convicted terrorists who escaped Community Maximum Security Prison on Monday after security officers nabbed them in Wangui, Kitui County. And DCI boss George Kinoti has been sentenced to 4 months in prison for contempt of court. Meanwhile, the judiciary has continued to decry backlog of cases as CJ Koome releases the State of the Judiciary Reports 2021. And with the drought menace still taking a toll on livelihoods in ASL counties, 168,000 people in Garissa are now staring at imminent starvation as drought continues to hit hard. Just a day after the president instructed the Ministry of Interior to use all resources available to capture the 3 committee escapees, the police on Thursday arrested the 3 terrorists and flew them back to the facility. Mohammed Ali Abikar, Joseph Juma and Musharraf Abdallah were arrested at the Endau location in Wangui East, Kitui County. According to Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the trio will be charged afresh for trying to escape. CS Matiang'i, who was accompanied by the Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai, DCI boss George Kinoti and other government officials to committee, said more officers will be deployed to boost security at the prison. Dickens Luvanda brings us this report.
This is the helicopter that was used to fly back 3 terror convicts who had escaped the country's most guarded correctional facility, the Committee Maximum Security Prison. 35-year-old Mohammed Ali Abikara, 30-year-old Joseph Juma Odhiambo, and 34-year-old Musharraf Abdallah Hulunga escaped from the prison on Monday this week, prompting the country's internal security organs to intensify search, with the police issuing a 20 million shillings bounty each on their heads.
You know, the last 3 days have been very difficult days for all of us since these 3 inmates left this facility. I am so grateful, and I want to start by saying I am so grateful to God for the men and women we have in the security sector and the multi-agency framework that was put out to conduct a massive manhunt for these 3.
The 3 who had separately been convicted for terrorism were arrested deep in the bush by a team of detectives who had been tracking them in Enzio Forest, Wangui East, Kitui County, within the border of Tana River and Wangui, following a tip-off by members of the public, with the report saying they were en route to Somalia.
I'd like to confirm to Kenyans, our manhunt, we were able to get the 3 inmates within the border of Tana River and Wangui. They were deep in the bush. Our assessment, these people were moving towards Garissa and maybe finally to cross to Somalia. I want to take this opportunity and thank Kenyans for the information they have shared, which has led to this success. And I want to appeal the same spirit to Kenyans. We keep vigil.
We received information yesterday that 3 suspicious characters have been found within Mutito, linked to Madalani, and after we received that information, every other area was activated. Everybody was put on alert. Unfortunately, this morning, in Wangui East County, the security team there managed to arrest the 3.
The Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, flanked by the Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai and the DCI boss George Kinoti, arrived at the committee prison to receive the convicts, where he disclosed that the 3 will be charged afresh for trying to escape. 9 prison officers linked to the escape of the jailbirds, who include 2 senior prison officials and 7 warders, were arraigned on Thursday for charges related to the escape.
Now that we have gotten them, and we have officers we suspect failed in their duty to do this, we will ensure that the law takes its course and we bring all those who are involved to justice.
Matiang'i, who described the escape as a rude awakening, said more officers will be deployed to both the prison security and that the Interior Ministry will work with the ICT docket to seal any loopholes that may abet such incidents in the future. Already, the screening systems have been changed at the airport and the Standard Gauge railway termini for security purposes.
A partnership between us and the Ministry of ICT will immediately reconfigure this because there are certain lapses, as I said, including our ICT deployment here that got us into this in the first place. So government is going to deploy very heavily to ensure that these kinds of mistakes do not happen again.
The escape of the three convicts led to the sacking of top prison boss Wycliffe Ogallo, who was also arrested along the head of Committee Maximum Prison and his deputy. Dickens Ravanda, Hope TV News Watch.
Thank you, Dickens, for that comprehensive report. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has hit out at officials at the Ministry of Interior, blaming them for the jailbreak at the Committee Maximum Security Prison. Speaking in Kianjokoma during a tour to popularize his bottom-up economic approach, DP Ruto, who appeared to be castigating Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, said the government should stop mistreating and crucifying junior officers over the escape of the three terror suspects. The DP said instead the government should deal with those in charge of internal security.
Rais Uhuru Kenyatta ana kazi kubwa sana ya kufanya, kwa sababu hivi sasa wale ambao amewategemea kuangalia usalama wa raia, kuangalia usalama wa nchi, hawa wote wameacha hiyo kazi na wako nje kufanya siasa.
Na tumeona serikali jana wakisema yule mdosi wa prisons ashikwe, lakini nataka kukumbusha rais wetu, wale wadosi kabisa wa security ya Kenya ambao wamezembea kwa kazi yao, and they have exhibited ineptitude and incompetence. They are two gentlemen. One is called Karaja Kebisho, the other one is called Matiang'i.
Mr. President, please don't go for the small people. Don't sacrifice junior officers. Go for the real problem in the security sector. Yule ambaye amekuangusha na ameanguka Kenya hii ndio ulikuwa umeita jana akupatie suluhisho. Na huyu Matiang'i rais ndio ameangusha wewe, na siku utafukuza hii Matiang'i ndio usalama wa Kenya utarudi kwa laini yake.
Kama magaidi watatu wanaweza potea katika maximum prison ya Kenya, hiyo inamaanisha sisi wa Kenya tuko katika hatarini.
The security of the nation is much more important than any assignment, even if they have chosen to be youth wingers of some politicians. They should equally understand that the responsibilities they have been given of ensuring that every Kenyan is secure and criminals and terrorists are behind bars is a higher calling and a higher responsibility than to be a youth winger for any politician.
The Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kinoti, has been sentenced to 4 months in prison for contempt of court after failing to surrender guns belonging to businessman Jimmy Wanjigi. High Court Judge Justice Anthony Mrima, who delivered the verdict, directed the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, to effect the warrant against Kinoti if he fails to surrender himself to prison officials within the next 7 days. Wanjigi moved to court seeking orders compelling the DCI boss to return his guns, which were seized during a raid in his home in Nairobi in 2017. The orders were granted by Justice Chacha Mwita on June 21, 2019, when he directed Kinoti to return a Smith & Wesson pistol, a Glock pistol, a mini Archer, and M4 C-Cube assault rifles to Wanjigi. A year after Justice Mwita issued the order, Wanjigi filed yet another application seeking to enforce it, asking the court to find Kinoti in contempt and hand him a 6 months jail sentence. Kenya is expected to send 20,000 health workers to the United Kingdom on a 3-year contract after an agreement signed between the two countries when President Uhuru Kenyatta visited the UK in July this year. The bilateral agreement was signed on July 29th for collaboration in the healthcare workforce, which permits the Kenyan healthcare to work for the National Health Service. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, Kenyan nurses will be the first beneficiaries of the agreement.
With the aim of capitalizing on qualified but unemployed health workers in the country, the Ministry of Labour through the National Employment Authority has been mandated to recruit qualified nurses to the United Kingdom in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. This comes after the Kenyan government signed a bilateral agreement with the UK on collaboration of healthcare workforce. The recruited nurses will be issued with a 3-year working visa and a renewable contract.
There are 3 steps remaining before we flag them out. Number 1 is once we confirm they are not working in any medical facility, because as a government we have to protect our medical service. So these are nurses who are not engaged by county government, national government hospitals, mission hospitals and private hospitals. All of them collectively work in provision of medical care in Kenya.
Labour Principal Secretary Peter Toom has dismissed the report that UK had suspended the recruitment due to an existing labour shortage of health workers in the country, saying that the recruitment process will continue.
What you see in social media, some saying that the UK has put an embargo on this recruitment, that is fake news. What we are doing is just to ensure that unscrupulous recruitment agencies do not exploit you people in a manner that would then make you end up in an environment that we don't guarantee your welfare. So we have discussed with the British government and agreed that anybody leaving to go and work in that place must be that one that has passed through the processes as prescribed by the government of Kenya, working together with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Labour, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Interior, and all other departments.
We have 2,500 qualified nurses whom we have vetted and processed. We are now asking them to go for those exams. So it depends on individual choice, because they come on a regular basis. So we have encouraged them to take the nearest exam. So if they took the one in December and results are out, we can now process their medical and travel documents in January.
Nurses with diploma will earn a monthly salary of at least 300,000 Kenya shillings, while graduates with degree certificates will earn about 450,000 shillings upon signing of the contract with the UK National Health Service. With the nurses being the first beneficiaries of the bilateral agreement, an average of 7 points in the English language tests stands in between the nurses and the chance to work in the United Kingdom. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch at the Kenya School of Government in Nairobi.
Thank you, Kennedy, for that report. Now, over 2,200 children under 5 years in Garissa County are malnourished as a result of the ongoing drought in the region. According to Garissa Deputy County Commissioner Philip Koima, 168,000 people in Garissa are faced with starvation, while domestic animals and wild animals have succumbed to thirst and hunger due to 2 failed rains. Government officials in affected areas are set to hold community peace and reconciliation meetings regularly to prevent any kind of clashes that may arise to overusage of water points and grazing areas.
With the ongoing drought in northern Kenya affecting livelihoods and threatening lives, over 2,200 children under the age of 5 in Garissa County are now malnourished as a result of drought. Addressing the press after chairing the county steering committee in Garissa, Lagdera Deputy County Commissioner Philip Koima called for immediate intervention measures from all the government stakeholders and urged the health stakeholders to continue conducting surveillance of the situation. Koima revealed that the drought situation in Garissa is a crisis level and is likely to deteriorate in the next few weeks if the region does not receive rainfall.
We are seeing the possibility of the situation
even deteriorating more. We had 2 failed rain seasons, which actually occasioned the current severe drought which is experienced in Garissa County, and even in the entire region, this Asal region. And we have started witnessing deaths of livestock.
According to the Deputy County Commissioner, 168,000 people are also in need of emergency relief food. In the month of October, the government supplied 7,050 kg bags of rice, 3,550 kg bags of beans to Garissa residents affected by drought.
We are moving also faster to ensure that as the government policy has already shifted from providing family relief, instead the government has enrolled the severely affected population so that they are put on cash transfer. And already we have actually done the enhanced cash transfer registration, targeting 307,000 mostly affected population of this county.
However, last week the government announced that it will shift from relief food to cash transfers due to challenges of reaching some of the far-flung areas. Government officials in affected areas will now hold community peace and reconciliation meetings regularly to avert any kind of clashes that may arise over usage of water point and grazing areas. Garissa County is still registering affected people to benefit from the cash transfer program.
The Parliamentary Committee on Trade and Industry is probing how 139 by 40 feet containers of edible oil was sneaked out of a private container freight station, CFS. The committee, led by Mandera South MP Adan Haji Ali, toured Portside CFS after it emerged that 88 out of 139 containers were mysteriously released from the station. Addressing the media after verification, Ali said they were shocked to learn that 88 containers were sneaked out of the CFS to the local market despite the Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS and other government agencies raising a red flag on the basis that the consignment lacked vitamin A and therefore not fit for human consumption.
Investigation cannot take forever, and it is not a rocket science to establish the liability, who is actually behind those stolen 53 containers. So we want to put DCI on notice that they must move with the speed to be able to prosecute those culprits behind the stolen containers.
Portside, CFS, where we have just established that at the time when the first committee was doing an investigation, there was around 139 containers that were carrying condemned cooking oil. Today, as we were doing the investigation, we have established through random sampling that out of the 139, 88 of them are allegedly have allegedly been released to the market to be reused in manufacture of soap. The remaining 53 are the ones that have a suspicious chain of custody, because the 53, out of the 53, we've been able to establish that 2 of them were actually released as this process was going on, and the 51 that remain are actually empty, meaning that they do not have the condemned cooking oil. So the first thing that is a big concern for the public is if this foodstuff has left a bonded warehouse, where did it end up? Because chances are it ended up on your table and you're consuming poison.
Let's now take our first commercial break. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Dad! Gari mpya!
Umetoa wapi gari mpya?
Optiven wametusort.
Optiven? Nunua any of our value-added properties ama redeem installment ya property yako. Kwa kila malipo ya 10,000 unapata 1 entry point kwenye draw ya Furahia na Optiven promotion. Airtime kushindaniwa kila siku, holiday kila wiki, shinda ploti na gari kila mwezi na grand prize ya Mercedes-Benz C180. Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na Furahia na Optiven.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Chief Justice Martha Koome has re-emphasized on demand for greater attention on case laws that have increased over the years. The CJ was speaking during the presentation of the State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Report, SOJA 2020-2021, and launched the gender mainstreaming policy at the Supreme Court premises. However, the CJ said people seeking justice should not have to wait upon the winds and tides of the political processes to find a judge to hear a case, as Dolly Murigi tells us.
Backlog of cases in the country continue to be the greatest drawback in the dispensation of justice in Kenya. According to the 2021 State of Judiciary Annual Report, SOJA, over 600,000 cases are still unresolved despite the effort from the judiciary. Speaking during the launch of the report, Chief Justice Martha Koome has said the judiciary is working to see how this huge number of cases can be resolved first. The CJ has added that the judiciary is working towards ensuring resolution of cases in a year.
Justice cuts across all of us. This means that the SOJA report is a scorecard for the state and not just the judiciary in delivering on that responsibility. Because when things do not work, it's not only the judiciary that is brought to criticism, it is the entire government. So we share this responsibility, all of us. The Constitution calls on state organs and agencies to cooperate in the quest to advance and promote access to justice.
The CJ re-emphasized that the judiciary would pursue the ethos of accountability to the full extent to preserve the honor and authority of the judiciary. The CJ said it's urgent to support the construction of court premises to ease pressure from the Milimani Commercial Courts and Supreme Court building, enabling physical access to justice by reducing the distance traveled by litigant to access courts will remain top priority.
We are embracing the utility of the multi-door innovations, small claims courts, alternative justice systems, and mediation. These are significant milestones achieved in enhancing access to justice during the financial year 2020-2021, and one of them being the operationalization of the small claims courts.
The judiciary should have greater standards of accountability and transparency, not lesser. Every officer within this great institution should be strictly above reproach. Then, and then only, will the judiciary be able to credibly discharge its mandate and have the moral authority to hold others to account.
The judiciary has developed and put in place a comprehensive work plan geared towards ensuring that the courts resolve election-related disputes that will arise during the 2022 election cycle in an efficient, expeditious, and just manner. Meanwhile, the CJ has launched the gender mainstreaming policy, which according to Justice Agnes Murgar, will seek to integrate gender in all judicial activities. She said gender inclusivity will take center stage in all activities and programs.
The judiciary aims to be more sensitive to the needs of litigants, especially lactating mothers, expectant women, children, and the vulnerable of our society. There is no doubt that it will play a significant part in the Chief Justice's vision of social transformation through access to justice.
Dolly Rigi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Now, unemployed youths have a reason to smile after Principal Secretary for State Department of Housing and Urban Development, Charles Hinga, announced that the recruitment process of the third phase of the Kazi Mtaani program is set to begin on Friday, November 19th. Interested persons will be required to register through the Kazi Mtaani Management System portal. According to Hinga, the third phase of the program will help equip the youth with the life skills aimed at creating job opportunities, as well as to enable them to engage in self-employment in fields such as plumbing, masonry and carpentry, among others. The third phase is to be officially launched in December this year and will benefit at least 3,400 jobless youths. The recruitment announcement comes weeks after President Uhuru Kenyatta announced during Mashujaa Day celebrations that the National Hygiene Program, Kazi Mtaani, will continue because of its positive impact in the lives of thousands of youths. The Kenya Defence Forces has asked young persons with university degrees in engineering to avail themselves for the ongoing nationwide recruitment exercise. Lieutenant Evans Oduma of the Kenya Air Force said although there were slots reserved for civil engineers, electrical engineers, among other persons with technical skills, the recruitment officers failed to get such skills in Malindi and Magarini sub-counties. Lieutenant Oduma said although there are no cases of drug addiction detected during the Malindi exercise, there was need for the youth to shun hard drugs as they could jeopardize their chances of joining the forces or put them at risk health-wise. At the same time, the recruitment officer urged Kenyans to report on corrupt officers who claim to have ability to influence the recruitment exercise.
Challenge ile ambayo tumepata leo sana sana ni kwa wale ambao wametimu kwa vitengo mbalimbali, kuna zile degrees ambazo tulikuwa na nafasi kwa hiyo, lakini hatukupata. Tuna nafasi ya madegree kama wale ambao wamefanya degrees kama uhandisi, hatukupata wahandisi. So vijana wajitokeza wale ambao wako na degree kama hizo, civil engineering, electrical engineering na degrees mbalimbali. Ukiangalia kwa ile tangazo ambalo lilitolewa na idara ya jeshi katika magazeti, kuna degrees tofauti ambazo tunatafuta, sio wahandisi peke yake. Lakini haswa kuna zile ambazo haipatikani sana. Hiyo ndio nime-highlight. Magarini tulitoka pale, pia tulikuwa na challenge kama hapa ambao tumepata leo. So ni kuhimiza vijana tu.
Siaya County government is in talks with the national government over the construction of a bridge that will connect Alego, Usonga and Ugenya sub-counties at Calcada. This, according to Siaya Deputy Governor Dr. James Okumbe. Okumbe said that talks were at advanced stage to have the link that will save the public time and long-distance travel, and that the project will be accomplished before the end of the tenure of the current government. He was speaking at the county headquarters when he officially launched the County Legacy magazine. The deputy governor said that the county has in the last 9 years managed to open up and maintain over 2,000 kilometers of roads, with plans to tarmac the Siaya, Sirembe, Bondo, Uponda farm roads on the pipeline.
Before the governor was elected, there were roads, but he has increased the road networking system by 2,000 kilometers. So there's Calcada, Ugenya Bridge across River Nzoia, which is in the pipeline. Of course, I remember you also sent me to Nairobi, and the national government, they are willing to put up that at over 500 million. So that is going on. There's Siaya, Sirembe Tarmac Road planned. There's Opoda Bondo Road, and which is been designed, but already it's almost complete. I think by the time when you went to site, is when they were doing it, but now it's almost complete. And others that we have managed to collaborate with the national government. Health and sanitation, the community health volunteer strategy, Every sub-location has a dispensary, leading to the current 72% rate of skill delivery from 38. One of the most important flagship projects of Garcia County Stadium, the first phase is at 70% complete. Of course, it's over 500 million worth of project contract, which is going on, amongst others. We also have support to ward-based sports clubs and teams. We've got talent such activities which were derailed by COVID-19. We also have got a multicultural center, Misia Tourism Awards. Those things were done. Apart from many other things that will be done. I know when he was talking to the CEC Ogada, he was whispering to me that there is Odera Kango cells and others.
Now, security has been beefed up in the coastal region ahead of the Christmas and New Year festive season in anticipation of high numbers of visitors. Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata said visible security will be in place alongside intelligence surveillance across the region before and after the celebrations. Speaking to the press in his office, Elungata said the tight security measures were aimed at ensuring the safety of and security of residents and domestic and foreign holidaymakers. According to him, police officers will be patrolling tourist attraction sites and beaches during the December and New Year holidays to guarantee the security of the fragile tourism sector.
We just want to encourage Kenyans who are coming into the coast region for the festive season, Christmas, Jamhuri Day, the New Year, to adhere to those instructions that have been given by NTSA. It's just a reminder, these are instructions that have always been there, rules that have been followed by all those who use our highways and roads, and to encourage everyone to be safe on the road. It has been mentioned that many people prefer to use private cars to travel to Mombasa and other places because they are fast and comfortable. But we would want to encourage them to use registered public service vehicles. Those are the ones that are licensed and insured to carry passengers, not private cars. Private cars have limited insurance, limited to the people who are supposed to be in that car, but not other passengers who are supposed to be traveling on our highway. So kindly avoid private cars, use registered, licensed public service vehicles. At the same time, of course, we want to assure Kenyans that the coast region is safe. Our security agencies are on the lookout for any eventuality. I'm sure there are those who are scared because they think that what we've seen happening in our neighboring country could obtain here. Terror is always a threat everywhere, but like I said, security agencies are quite ready to protect Kenyans wherever they are here in the coast region.
Let's now move to the coast, where 9 members of the Kilifi County Assembly have launched an aggressive campaign to popularize the newly formed Pamoja African Alliance political party. Addressing journalists at the County Assembly building in Malindi Town Wednesday, the MCS said the party will give the coastal people the respect they deserve in national politics and economic fronts. The MCS said they will traverse the entire region to woo residents to join the new party before moving to other regions, noting that PA is a national party despite it tracing its roots from the coast. PA party was formed by Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi with an agenda to unite the coastal region.
Sisi tunasema kufanya kazi na baba sio aibu, na hatuoni kama ni aibu, na hatutarajii kwamba itakuwa aibu. Lakini tunataka kufanya kazi na mtu ambaye ataheshimu mtu wa pwani. Kumheshimu mtu wa pwani ni sisi tuje kwa meza na matakwa yetu, yale sisi tunataka. Hata Gavana Kingi mahali yuko ajue ya kwamba sisi watu wa pwani, ile heshima ametuonyesha anataka kutuvalisha. Hiyo heshima isirudi na nyuma.
Sisi ni wabunge tulichaguliwa na tikiti ya ODM 2017.
lakini mwaka wa 2022 rangi ya pwani ni paa. Na nataka nimshukuru seneta wa nominated wa kutoka Kilifi County under Jubilee, Seneta Christy Zawadi. Nampatia kongole kwa kuwa na ujasiri na kusimama mbele ya baba wakati wa mkutano Malindi na kumwambia kapu lake 2022 litajaa, lakini kujaa kwake halitajaa tu na ODM hapa Kilifi, litajazwa na chama cha PA.
Yale mambo yanafanyika hapa Kenya imelazimu kwamba pwani nayo geuze mtindo, kwa sababu serikali ya Kenya ikipanga inapangia wale wamejipanga, na wale ambao hawajipangi serikali inawaacha kando. Juzi tu wakati kwa kuisha kwa hii lifts ya hii mambo ya corona, tuliona rais alipeana pesa kwa sehemu mbalimbali zikuze mimea yao na zifue uchumi. Kule sehemu za Meru wakafufua miraa, kule sehemu za Rift Valley wakafufua majani chai na kahawa, wakafua sukari, lakini pwani hakuna anything about serikali ilitupa kama initiative.
Sisi tumesema governor akisema right tutaenda right, akisema left tutaenda left, na yoyote ambaye atakuja hapa Kilifi na pwani basi lazima atapitia Mheshimiwa Gavana King.
Tumepata chama chetu na chama hiki ndio kitakachotukomboa sisi katika yale masuala mengi ambayo yamekuwa donda sugu kama pwani.
Principal Secretary, State Department of Housing and Urban Development, Charles Hinga, has urged the Kisii County government to form a partnership with the National Housing Corporation, NHC, in building affordable houses that will ensure residents enjoy affordable housing. Speaking during the inspection of ongoing projects within the Kisii municipality, Hinga said the NHC has a progressive joint venture JV policy where it develops and provides investors. Hinga said the department will analyze demographics in localities to ensure fair pricing of the houses.
This municipality now has much more serious traffic congestion than even Nairobi. I think, we control about 60% of the money market in the Nyanza region. So, I keep on saying those are not my statistics. Anybody who's questioning them can question the central bank in Kisumu.
Kisii happens to be one of the counties which has received tremendous and significant support from the national government, and we were chosen to be given a market, and Daraja Mbili could not have been a better choice.
National Housing Corporation has a very, very progressive JV policy. You enter into a JV, you bring in the land, they become the developer, they bring in the investors, you bring in some of the people that who are going to occupy those houses, including your staff as a county. I also have good news, Excellency, is that we have now figured the financing for the Mwananchi to buy those houses, because we can build those houses, but we have not empowered the Mwananchi to buy those houses. So now we have, for the first time in the history of this country, what we are calling a single-digit, long-term, fixed interest rate.
The Mijikenda Kaya elders have initiated plans to revive the Mekatilili Wamenza gravesite at Bungale area in Magarini sub-county in Kilifi to enable people to learn about the legendary heroine who led the Giriama people in the fight against the British colonial rule. Speaking at the site together with other elders and the family of the late heroine, the national coordinator of Mijikenda Kaya elders, Suma Nzai Kombe, said the family had resolved that the site needed to be well maintained because it holds key history of the country. The elders appealed to President Uhuru Kenyatta to ensure that before he leaves office, he recognizes the area and sets up a tower in memory of the Mijikenda heroine.
Tunauliza serikali, tunataka hii familia au huyu mama ushujaa wake uwe kama wale wengine. Kama juzi tulikuwa na familia ya kina Dedan Kimathi, walikuja kutembea hapa na pia waliweza kusema kuwa ni vizuri kuweze kuboreshwa iwe kama ile familia ya kina Dedan Kimathi. Kuna wale mashujaa wengine pia. Kwa hivyo hatutaki jina lake litajwe tu. Tunataka vitendo. Hivi leo tumekuja hapa na familia wako na mpangilio ya kuanzisha foundation ya Mekatilili ambayo itasaidia kusomesha watoto, kulinda mazingira na pia kuweza kuboresha mambo ya familia. Kwa hivyo tumekuja, tumeungana na familia, tumeweza kuweka tambiko. Kulikuwa kuna mambo mengi hapo tumeyarekebisha. Hususan tunataka ni heshima yake. Kwa hivyo viongozi wetu kupitia kwa mheshimiwa wetu Uhuru Kenyatta, tunataka kabila hujatoka katika uongozi, uweze kutambua hii sehemu na uweze kuja kuweka mnara. Manake hawa familia hii sehemu wameitenga kwa mujibu wa historia hii ya huyu mama Mekatilili. Kwa hiyo tunawaambia Wakenya wote tuweze kuungana, zile tofauti zile zetu za hapa na pale ambazo zilikuweko tunaamini tumezimaliza, mpaka pia county government imeingilia kati na tumezimaliza. Kwa hivyo tunataka hapa kuboreshwe na kuwe na upendo na tuwe na heshima ya huyu mama Mekatilili.
Next week on Turning Point.
We're not a people worried about where we go from here. We know where we're going because of the gospel. We know him who has prepared the way because of the gospel. We are more than conquerors through our Lord Jesus Christ because of the gospel, the triumph of the gospel, and I hope you've discovered it for yourself. Whatever you're facing, the gospel, because it's Jesus Christ, is your victory. Wherever you're going, he is your guide. However you're feeling, he's your sole and solid hope. Whatever you're worried about by the falling fragments of our collapsing planet, you can look up to heaven and see him who came down to earth for you. He's right now seated at the right hand of the Father, making intercession for us and waiting for when we come through the door to say to us, welcome home, good and faithful servant. May that be our hope. Amen.
That's next week on Turning Point.
Now for some business news, the Kenya Commercial Bank, KCB Group PLC, has recorded a profit of 25 billion shillings in the Q3 2021 amid setbacks by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the group CEO and MD Joshua Oigara, the 131% growth was mainly driven by increase in total income and decline in the provisions charge. Q3 for KCB was the strongest compared to Q2 and Q1 of 2021. This is a sign that the economy is slowly recovering from the drawbacks of the pandemic. According to the latest financial report from the bank, total assets grew by 15% to 1.12 trillion shillings, while customer deposits stood at 859 billion shillings, an 11% jump. Gross loans rose 12% to 718 billion shillings.
We've seen a lot of recoveries in our businesses. Our overall income is up 16%. We're just at 79.9 billion for the last 9 months of the year. So all aspects we're growing in terms of our loans and advances across the markets where we are. We've seen increases in areas, for instance, our fees and commissions, not to the level that we want, but good momentum. We've also seen activities moving on in our foreign exchange transactions. So all aspects of sectors of the economy are actually coming back. And for me, it's exciting to see small enterprises, the micro enterprises we have, different countries perform much stronger than we had in the past 9 months of the year. So if you see our performance this year, all aspects of the businesses are performing much better. We also had a reduction in the expected credit losses for our loans because we are seeing better performance and better recovery. So those aspects and costs have been pretty well managed in our businesses if you look at it from a period of time for the last 9 months. So this has been an exciting year. If you look, bolting that on the recovery of the economy, the second quarter Kenyan economy was very strong, rebounding at 10%. Regional economies have grown very strongly as well. My view is that our level of growth and momentum is in a very good space for ourselves. So the next few weeks, actually, as we go the full of the year, I see ourselves being ahead of our forecast We had given a guideline in terms of our performance this year. Profit is growing at more than 100%, so 131%. We will see better performance. If I summarize, we'll see a better performance in this fourth quarter. We're already seeing good growth in all our businesses, and therefore I'm very optimistic that this year we are running very strong.
The government has set aside 3 billion shillings to help beef cattle farmers in the country to prepare livestock for the export market. Speaking in Nyandarua County during the Nyahururu Animal Health Industrial Training Institute's AHITI 41st graduation ceremony on Wednesday, Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Livestock, Lawrence Omuhaka, said the money will be used to identify, test and prepare animals for export in live and packed meat form to markets outside Kenya. According to Omuhaka, farmers will be required to have a medical history of their animals to ensure that they are free of antibiotics and in safe condition for human consumption.
We've rolled out animal identity and traceability program where we are going to talk to farmers so that we can work with them as a ministry. They contribute something, the government contributes something, so that we are able to identify animals and trace them. Apart from just the tracing them in terms of diseases for health purposes, they also help in security, so that if animals are stolen and they have a chip, we are able to locate where they are. Currently, if animals are stolen and you may not know where they are. So it's a very important thing that we are doing as a ministry. We also have a very important area that we are covering as a ministry, the animal insurance scheme, where we help farmers, like in ASAL areas, the situation is very bad. The president declared drought as a national disaster. So we have a serious problems there. Now we're working with farmers under the insurance scheme. And under this insurance scheme, the farmers contribute some money, we also contribute some money. We insure the animals. We don't wait for the animals to die so that we now give the money. No.
Now, for some sporting action, various football stakeholders have continued to voice their reaction to the Football Kenya Federation and Ministry of Sports over the ouster of FKF President Nick Mwendwa. According to KCB FC coach Zedekiah Otieno, football stakeholders will suffer with the looming FIFA ban. Zico has asked the CS for Sports, Amina Mohamed, to reconsider her decisions of disbanding FKF with the looming FIFA ban. His sentiments have been echoed by former Harambee Stars coach Jacob Ghost Mulee, who has raised his concern over the standoff in Kenya football. This comes even as Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed yesterday held a consultative meeting with FIFA Secretary General Fatma Samaura over Football Kenya Federation FKF disbandment. Amina termed the virtual meeting as excellent, however underscoring that all Government of Kenya decisions on football management remain in place and intact, even as the next meeting is scheduled for next week.
We have seen previously the government cracking the whip on football, and what has happened, FIFA ban looming, and we have seen it's not the first time that it has happened. This is our job. Football, we have very many stakeholders, but who suffers most is the players. Because right now, if we go through a ban, no player is supposed to be transferred from Kenya. No player can be transferred from another country, as a Kenyan, to another country. These are some of the repercussions. We cannot be able to play international games. Gor Mahia is waiting to play a continental match, so is Tusker. They are our representative. We have the women football team that also is on the verge maybe of qualifying again for African Cup of Nations for women. So there is a lot to lose. For the real stakeholders are the players, the referees. We are not going to officiate anywhere outside this country. There's not going to be any international football matches. Now, we've just come from a COVID-19 situation. We've just come from so many stress in football. But now the question is, are we going to allow the ban so that the real people suffer? Because players, some companies will not be able to pay players because they cannot play international football. I mean, there is a lot that is there to lose for the coaches, for the players, for the officials of football, and I didn't find it wise for sure having a problem maybe with the president and whoever, and then close the secretariat, because football is run by the secretariat. There is a lot. There is administration part. There is a coaching course. Right now, the FKF through CAF and FIFA is conducting a CAF B license, which is equivalent to, the license have been harmonized, is equivalent to Euro B or whatever.
This decision should be given a very wide thought and a very wise one. Like just in the Bible where King Solomon, 2 women went to him with each one claiming the baby, and he used his wisdom to solve the situation. So I think like now, the people who are celebrating that Kenya should be banned, you see they are not directly involved in football. Look at the coaches, the players, the referees. Nobody is for Kenyan ban. I mean, nobody is for FIFA ban. So I think it's something which should be taken very seriously. Why? Because when the ban comes, our referees are not going to officiate internationally.
Now, Athletics Kenya, AK, is among 6 federations nominated for the Member Federations Award in this year's World Athletic Awards, to be held virtually on 1st December. AK is the only federation from the African continent in the final shortlist of the annual award. Others who managed to be nominated are Athletics Australia, Czech Athletics Republic, Costa Rican Athletics Federation, North and Central America and Caribbean, Ecuador Athletics Federation, and Japan Association of Athletics Federations. AK was nominated for the award following Kenya's successful outing at the Tokyo Games, where the country was placed 3rd in the overall medals won in athletics after USA and Italy, and for being an active player in the UN Sports for Climate Action Initiative. And that sports story brings us to the end of this bulletin. Many thanks for keeping me company, and thank you to the team who made this broadcast a success. My name is Grace Wangui, and a sign language interpreter has been Boniface Muredi. I hope to do this again with you tomorrow. Good night and bye-bye.